It's a Guy Jeans podcast.
Good, brother. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for being on my podcast.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Hey, so for those that don't know, my audience and stuff, could you, talk a little bit about yourself, what you do, where you're from, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, sure. Let's see. I'll take it back from the beginning, I suppose. I'm
for sure.
From Frankenmuth, Michigan. I graduated high school from Frankenmuth High School, and after I graduated, I did some recording and played a lot around the area in like the Saginaw, Bay City, Midland, Frankenmuth area growing up. And then after I graduated, moved to New York City and lived in New York City for maybe 8 years, I think. And then was in a band in New York City called My TVs, did some touring in My TVs. Then I joined a band with called The Flask with some of the guys from Kid Rock's Just a Brown Trucker Band. And went back to Michigan while still living in New York City, back and forth. And then I started doing my own solo music while I was living in New York City. And the manager heard some of my music and sent it down to Skidd Mills in Nashville, Tennessee. So then I went from New York City to Nashville and signed a publishing deal with Primary Wave back in New York City, and then going back and forth from New York to Nashville, signed a record deal with Skidd Mills, Skiddco Music, did a record there, and then BMG bought my catalog from Primary Wave, so let me think here, and then now I live in Cincinnati, and yeah, my wife has a quote unquote real job. And so she had a job offer here in Cincinnati, and she's actually from kind of Nashville and Cincinnati both. So it just kind of made sense. I was driving from New York City to Nashville, risking my life through the mountains, over and over, and doing that record. And she got that job offer here, and I was like, yeah, let's move 4 hours from Nashville, from Cincinnati, and it's close to Michigan, where I'm originally from. And so yeah, here we are in Cincy, and it's kind of a nice central place to tour out of and go play shows out of. Some good markets that you can head out here. So cool. So that's kind of, I guess, it in a nutshell, I suppose. What is
for those who don't know, what's a publishing deal?
Well, pub is like, I suppose, like if I were to sign a record deal, then they would obviously, as they would promote, the record and help us get on tour and all that good stuff. And then a publishing deal kind of, helps facilitate co-writes and, helps you out with all the paperwork that I just had to go through a few days ago. And back and forth, email chains, and they're great about hooking you up with good producers as well. They kind of some of them kind of wear the same hat, I suppose, as what a label would do. So a lot of co-write stuff they hook you up with, I'd say, is probably and pitching your music, obviously, for film and television is,
Oh, yeah.
Those are probably the two biggest things.
Well, I know I just heard something I will talk about that is pretty cool for you that just happened in Cincinnati for the Cincinnati Reds. One of your songs is going to be played before every game or something like that. Is that right?
Yeah,
that's so cool.
I'm really excited about it, man. It's a good, it's a solid placement. It was really cool how it came about. But yeah, they're gonna play it like during the games, some of the games, and then they play it, post game wrap ups, after the games, during the games, and then for like online use as well. Their socials and all that good stuff.
So, dude, that's like a big deal because every time they play it, don't you get like a little kick down?
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You know those dudes those guys, I think they're called Inner Circle, that song, Bad Boys.
Yes.
Could you imagine if that was like your song?
Oh my gosh, dude. Dude, right? I mean, that's the dream placement.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's a lot of royalties right there for sure.
So the touring, man, I guess, you've been traveling and you've gone back and forth and you've done the van thing probably with the trailer, touring around and doing all that. What's that like, man, when you're first starting out? Because there's a lot of people that listen to my podcast that are just starting out musicians and, kind of tell them, like, if you wouldn't mind, like, what it's like and, the drive that you have to make it happen, I guess you could say.
Yeah, man.
Or any advice too.
The van and trailer, yeah, for sure. The van and trailer is one of the most, what's the word I'm searching for here? It's
brutal.
One of them. Well, but for me, it was like one of the most, I don't know how to articulate this proper. Like one of the most eye-opening, beautiful, freeing experiences of my life. It was like, every time you jump in the van with your bros and you're going to eat like shit and you're going to probably maybe drink too much. Sorry, should I watch my language on here?
No worries. No,
oh, okay.
No.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
You're going to eat like crap and, you're going to maybe have a few too many drinks or whatever, but you have like no other responsibilities other than keeping your lights on and paying your rent and, the grind of being in the van and the trailer, like we got a bus and a trailer. Like, I was lucky enough to have somebody come on board that, had some of those things to offer. And those were amazing opportunities and those were beyond fun. And it's, don't get me wrong, it's nice to have a bunk to sleep in. That's amazing. But the van and the trailer, the stories, the grind of it and the love-hate relationship, it makes you tougher and it's like loading into a club when you didn't sleep and just grinding it out is like, that's, those are the bands that I get into personally, like the bands that are pushing the rock up the hill, which I still am, I feel like every artist probably, unless you hit like a crazy pinnacle, pretty much your whole career, you're always going to be pushing the rock up the hill. But, those are the bands that I get into and the artists that I get into, the ones that really had to like fight and scrounge for it and, lose sleep and sacrifice, all the stuff for the love of their art. Those to me are true artists that I get into personally. I know that's not for everybody and some people, and that's fine. I'm not saying it's for everybody, but that's like kind of like the mentality that I came from, that punk rock DIY, fucking go for it, let's get it done, and nobody's going to work as hard as you will for yourself. As you will for yourself type mentality,
Yeah, man. I mean, there's I have some friends that are just grinding all over the United States, man, and they're just going for it and it's working and they're getting followings all over the place and they're blowing up on the internet and Spotify and they're just grinding away, man, and they're just doing a truck and trailer and a 3-piece band with a gal doing the merch and stuff. Perfect. And man, just killing it, just having a good time. And Yeah, working hard, man. Good Lord.
Yeah, the memories are just, like I would say I'm rich, quote unquote, rich in experience.
Yeah.
Because people think, oh, you're in the music business. You must be. No.
Yeah.
I'm rich in experience, sure.
Yeah.
But I'm still working every day. It's still a job.
What keeps you going, man? What keeps you doing what you're loving?
I think that for me, it's always the unknown. It's the what can I pull off next.
Yeah.
Obviously writing songs, I write every day. Well, I shouldn't say that. That would be a lie. I don't write every day. I try to write every day.
Sure.
I do my very best to write every day, but it doesn't always happen. But I think the art of the unknown is an art in and of itself, and trying to find something new, some new way to push a song that you have, or some new way to turn people on to your vibe or what you're going after is what I would say keeps me going. It's just, and it's just always fun. I like to see the reaction too of a new song, when we play it out, people that are into the band, there's a handful of people. It's not like we have some massive crazy following, but there's definitely a group of people that keep up with what we're doing. And it's always a treat to see, what it's going to do for them and how it's going to touch their life and how it's going to hit their life and, move them. So
you wrote a song called Heaven Down, which
yes,
I just was turned on to it. And, what's that song about, and how do you go about writing a song? I guess that's a 2-part question for you, but what inspired you to write that song?
Man, it's fitting that you asked me about that song, actually, because I wrote that song right after I moved to New York City, and it was kind of born out of, there was this guy, this old Vietnam veteran who was homeless, who lived outside of my apartment that we lived in, and he was a great dude. And one night, I used to talk to him after rehearsals. Every night I'd get home from rehearsal like 2:30 in the morning. We had this little rehearsal space on the Lower East Side, in this dungeon, we called it. And I would talk to this guy some nights, just stand out there, he'd smoke a cigarette, and I'd eat a slice of pizza and chat with this guy. And he, in the midst of our conversation one night, he said "Heaven Down," and it just stuck with me. Just those words did. And, like I write songs from kind of like, like I pull from a lot of things when I start one. Either it's a guitar vibe and then something kind of comes about lyrically, melodically, or, some of the stuff I have, like it will start with the title, and that was just, I guess one of the songs that started with the title, with Heaven Down. And it's just, kind of a little bit about our conversation that I had with him. But yeah, great dude. Great guy. But yeah, it's I wrote that tune, and then that song, man, that I love that tune, and we play it and people love it when we play it. And it's one of those songs that I've never put out, but I think I should probably put it out. I recorded that with Skidd when we did the Moment of Silence record, but then I also recorded it with the Flask, that band that I was in with Kenny Olson from Kid Rock's Twisted Brown Trucker Band. We did a record in LA called Match in the Gas Tank.
Yeah.
With Eddie Kramer mixed it out there at the mix room in Burbank, and it was a great record. But we recorded that song 2 times, so I'm always kind of like, I don't know which version I should put out.
Yeah, I like how you do these little like acoustic YouTube videos of you playing songs too. Those are cool, man. Kind of intimate.
Oh yeah, yeah, cool.
And
cool.
Dude, you have a song also that kind of stuck with me, which I really liked, was called Yellow Sun. And, and dude, that is a good song, man. That's a
thank you so much.
Super pro, great lyrics, great chord changes. One of the chords kind of, when you're singing the verse and stuff, you go down to a chord that just kind of gives it this whole kind of cool vibe that you wouldn't expect, And
thank you so much.
Yeah. So how do some of the songs that you write, do they come really quick, or does it take a little while for you to get them done? Like sometimes, songwriters write them within 15 minutes because it's just flowing so good. And then sometimes you're just like, oh, okay, well, how does it work for you?
Well, I know I have a friend who will take, honestly, a couple weeks to finish a tune. I personally, if I don't finish it when it's born out of my mouth or out of my strumming pattern, if I don't finish it, I will not finish it. So for me, it has to be finished. It has to be finished. I look at a song as like being in like a particular like bubble that has been blown, out of like, when you're a kid and you're blowing bubbles and all these bubbles are going all over the place. I'm in a particular bubble at that very moment, floating, and it's gonna burst at some point. So I've got to finish it. I've got to finish the song, and I've got to make it as great as humanly possible before it bursts and I fall down to the ground and shatter into a bunch of pieces, and then I go away. So if I don't finish the song, I have to. It won't get finished otherwise. It's just, I feel like anytime I write one, it's just like it's there for a reason. You're in this moment for a reason. Finish the song, and I'm not saying my way is the right way. Of course, I know people write songs. It takes a long time. Some great songs have been written that way. But for me personally, I can't pause on it. I can't sleep on it. Now I will say, some songs, once I deem them quote unquote finished in my head, I usually try to live with them, and then I will go back and tweak lyrics or something, or if words don't work well together, or certain syllables don't sing well together, or the first letter of the song doesn't sing well and isn't very attacky, enough to the ear, then I'll change some of that stuff. But for the most part, I try to just roll with it and finish it up right then and there. Yeah, some of my favorite songs have been. I wrote a song called Shine, Shine, Shine that's on the Moment of Silence record. And honestly, it's probably the fastest song I ever wrote. And a song called It's All Right. Those two songs in particular, those were honestly 10, 15 minutes tops. Like they were just boom, boom, boom. Lyric came, chord changes came, bridges came. Everything was just kind of presented itself right there.
Do you think
those were kind of the two outliers?
Do you think that's like a gift? Like to be able to have a song come to you that quick and... You know what I mean? It's like there's something that's kind of giving you this gift to give the world kind of a thing. Yeah,
I think I don't know. Yeah, it's a good question, man.
You know what I mean?
I'm a pretty I'm a pretty spiritual guy myself. I mean, I feel like God's handing these things to me, and more, like every song I feel like is just here. This is from some other point in your life that is going to be channeled here, and it's going to come out in this way. And here you go. I definitely believe that. I think that every human has that in them.
Sure.
Personally, I think whether or not you decide to look at it, is I know some people don't, or maybe they decide to be an accountant. I always I joke with my wife because I think every human being has some sort of artistic talent that is, naturally given to them. It's just, there's a sense of, bravery that comes when you're young. You kind of are like, you really don't care, you'll go for it. As you get older, you get a little bit more reserved. So I think when, the younger you are, to push the arts on kids, and let them know, I know, for instance, my two kids, if they sing, I never laugh, even if they're a little bit pitchy or whatever. I'm always there with them, and I'm always into it, and I'm always vibing with them, because you're gonna grow out of that, and you're gonna, some people are uncomfortable with singing in the moment, and they makes them feel awkward. There's that little phrase. So, people want to laugh and get out of that situation, if they're, new at it or whatever. But I always try to be like, come on, let's go. And I think if you tap into that at a young age, then, whether it's drawing or painting or watercolor or singing or dancing or whatever your outlet is. I think that everybody has a little bit in them for sure.
Have you heard your song in that, the Cincinnati Reds, right? Stadium yet?
Yeah.
Have you heard of it?
Not in the stadium yet. They've been since the deal happened, like 4 or 5 days ago. They've been on the road. They haven't been in the stadium yet. But we've heard it on TV. Yeah,
you did?
On TV so far. Yeah.
Oh no way! What's that like, man?
Oh man, it was
Is that
awesome.
cool?
Yeah, it's very cool. It's like hearing
It
a song
is.
on the radio for the first time when you don't know it's going to be played.
Yeah.
It's that feeling of, oh, whoa, there it is. Hey, cool. I didn't even know it was going to happen.
I'd like to see your reaction at the stadium when they're playing it on the, for all those
Yeah,
people. Wouldn't it be cool?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I want to. Hopefully, I'll definitely. I go to a ton of games, so hopefully it happens. Hopefully, I'm at the right one when they play it.
Exactly. So, do you collaborate at all with other songwriters or other companies or anything? Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I've got BMG. I've got a new A&R guy there who's been awesome. A couple of guys, Gerard and Dimitri there, that I just started working with they're amazing guys. Are
they Are they songwriters too, or what do they do?
I know one of them, Gerard in New York City is a sax player. I know that.
Okay.
And then I believe Dimitri, he's a bass player. I think is somebody told me he plays bass. I'm pretty sure. So I just kind of started working with these guys like in this new capacity with recently. So
and
still getting to know each other and going through my catalog and all that stuff to trying to pitch songs and
I see.
either get them cut or get them used for film and TV.
So they bought all your songs or something, right? Is that right?
Yeah, I initially Larry Mistel at Primary Wave initially signed me, and then BMG bought some of the catalogs from Primary Wave, and mine was one of those catalogs.
Dude, did you get a nice little chunk?
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's the
That's
one
God.
thing, when you get some money, the publishing deal is always
That's
a
cool.
nice little, hey, this is actually real type thing.
Yeah, man.
Especially when you're living in a van and trailer for so many years and, watching, the guys in your van, have all these crazy, ridiculous experiences and you feel like, good God, what am I doing out here? Like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
So it helps to, it helps to legitimize things in your mind a touch, but not anything crazy. But
I saw that you have played with a whole bunch of different bands, and one of them stuck out, Huey Lewis. And I got to meet Huey Lewis a long time ago, many years ago, and watch him play and stuff. What an amazing artist as well as songwriter and stuff. What was it like playing with some of these different artists that you've opened up for, like Ted Nugent I saw on there and all these other bands? What was it like, and what was your favorite memory from any of those?
Yeah, Huey, it's funny you bring Huey up because he's like my text buddy, man. Huey is one of my favorite people. He's one of the nicest guys. He has no ego.
Yeah.
An absolute gem of a human being. And the fact that the guy even knows who I am or writes me back and gives me feedback on my songs is just absolutely crazy. And he, to me, is obviously one of the greatest. Sorry, I'm just going to go off on him for a second because I love him so much. But he's one of the greatest songwriters of all time, in my opinion. And honestly, like, I don't know if you ever heard him play. I play harmonica.
Yeah.
He's just an absolute destroyer. Like, the guy is untouchable in my, him and Mickey Raphael, who plays with Willie. Like, those two guys are just absolute animals. There's some great harp players out there. Obviously John Popper, but for me, Huey is just like, Huey kills. He just his breathing technique. He's just nuts. So anyway, he was amazing to play with. Ted was great. Ted was, I'm from Michigan. Ted likes to throw bones to guys that are from the glove. And he was nice enough to let us jump out with him. And, great stories about, just doing stuff with Ted. And we've toured with Candlebox has taken us out, Kevin Martin. Those guys, some of the nicest dudes ever. And Kevin's become a good friend. And, yeah, good Lord. I played with Stone Temple Pilots, ZZ Top, done some stuff with those guys.
Oh, wow. What was it like?
Oh, man, Chris Daughtry.
What was the Stone Temple Pilots like? They cool guys?
They were great. Yeah, they were great. Yep, super nice dudes. Yep, super nice guys. Yeah, we played with them 2010 and then maybe 2012, I believe.
Wow.
So a little while ago. I'm trying to think who else I played. Good God, Kid Rock, Buck Cherry. Oh man, the list is over the years. You know, we've played with many folk. That's for sure.
So I'll tell you a story about Huey. So I somehow got to go backstage because the opening act was a blues artist from San Francisco, and he was playing at this big theater called the Greek Theater in Hollywood, and he was backstage, you know, and it was what I thought was very interesting is when the curtains were closed, he was like peeking through the curtains to watch the crowd come in. And I thought that was pretty cool because I used to do that too, you know, where you're checking the crowd out, you know, as they're walking in and stuff.
Totally.
Yeah. And then, and so the opening act played and stuff, and then they're getting ready to go on, and they open the curtains, and Huey's all, "Where's my band? Where's my band?" And they're all, "Well, right here, Huey." You know, he was like totally nervous, you know, which is awesome. I mean, you got to be, right?
Yeah.
A good performance. Yeah. And he was.
Totally.
It was cool to see that side of such a big artist, you know, and you know, I got to experience that, you know, backstage right when they were going out, you know, so that was really cool to see.
For sure, man. Yeah, we still do it too, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the nerves. I mean, I was talking to somebody yesterday, and we were talking about that. You know, if you get nervous before, absolutely, man, because you want to do a good job, right? You know, you
for sure.
You want everything to go down good and all that kind of stuff. So being from Michigan, you know, have you done some acting too? I've heard, or have you done a little bit of acting? What kind of acting have you done?
Yeah. You know, that kind of came about kind of in a weird way. When I moved to New York, I was writing songs. Actually, Heaven Down. I had just written Heaven Down, and I wanted to go in and demo that song out, acoustic vocal with a couple other songs. And I was searching for a studio to record in, and my wife's friend was like, "Hey, I just moved in with these two guys, these two roommates." She was like, "You know, you should come over and meet Greg. He has the studio like in our apartment. It's like really nice." I was like, "Okay, cool." So I went over to the studio and met Greg. He was great and had a really nice studio in his apartment on like 54th Street in like the 7th Avenue, I think, something like that. And went in there and started recording these songs. And we recorded most of the day. It was acoustic vocal stuff, just some stuff I could hash out and just, you know, hear. And his roommate got home, this guy named Christian, and he walked through the door, and he came into the studio after the session, and we were just all sitting there having a hang and a chat. And he asked me what I was doing, you know, for work, because I had just moved there. And I told him, I was like, you know, I'm, you know, applying at all of like the usual suspect places, you know, like, you know, guitar shops and guitar centers and, you know, vintage clothing stores, all the stuff that I was kind of into, you know. And he was like, well, don't take those jobs. Don't take those jobs. And I was like, okay, well, I don't know, man. I need a job. I need a job, you know. So he was like, I'm a casting director. So he's like, instead of doing that, I'll put you to work during the week on film and TV stuff that I cast for, and then on the weekends and starting like Thursdays, you know, you can go out and, you know, play shows. So I was like, okay, you know, like I left and I was like, whatever, you know, like that would be amazing if that happened. But, you know, well, fast forward to a week later, he cast me on The Sopranos. And I'm literally, it's like a week and a half later, and I was having lunch on the break with, like, I'm sitting at a table with the cast of The Sopranos. Like, it's absolutely crazy. Yeah, there was like, it was background work, you know, like I had a couple featured roles, but I got wavered in the Screen Actors Guild, which was amazing because you make, you know, more money in SAG. And he basically like paid my rent for years just off of, you know, the film and TV stuff that I did and the commercial stuff that I was able to do. Just an absolute great guy, you know, helps artists out, cares, you know, hard people to find. Was definitely blessed by the hand of God on that one, you know, like here, push this guy into this room. and just a really good guy. But yeah, he definitely hooked up some interesting moments for me.
Dude, that's awesome.
In that world. Yeah.
So do you still get like a little royalty check every once in a while because they're still playing that out there? How's that work?
Yeah, you know, you just
cool?
little things that come in. Yeah, that and like, good God, I did like Law and Order.
Oh, you did?
I did. I was the bartender in Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist with Michael Cera, which Michael Cera is one of the nicest humans ever. Got to hang out with him for like a whole week. We used to walk back and forth to the from the subway to the set, you know, after. Just a great guy. What else was on? Motherhood with Uma Thurman, Fighting, Ditto Montiel directed that with Channing Tatum. He was like the lead in that. He was super cool dude. Hung out with him. Man, there's just so much other stuff. I did a rock band commercial. I body doubled for Dave Grohl. Man, I'm trying to think what else.
That's amazing, man.
Sex and the City, the movie. I think it was like the second. A lot of this stuff I used to have it on DVD because like. There was a point where, like, I would do these things, you know. I was on Lipstick Jungle with Brooke Shields and Andrew McCarthy, and I can't think of the other lady's name. I was Deegan McNeil, like the whole episode. It was on NBC. Lipstick Jungle was what it was called.
Yeah.
But I was Deegan McNeil was my character on there, and it was like the whole episode was like based around my character. Like Leaving Rambin was my girlfriend on that episode. But yeah, there's a bunch of other stuff. I just can't remember, but I used to have all the DVDs, and because my kids ask me about it all the time, and I'm like, man, I don't remember. I think, you know, my wife will, you know, kind of recall some things here and there. But yeah, there was just, you know, years of doing that stuff.
So no more of that? Are you going to do any more?
You know, somebody introduced me to someone here in Cincinnati. They're doing a lot of films in Cincy, and I'm in Screen Actors Guild, and there's not a lot of people here that are in SAG. So there's like, I think a number that like a number of people that have to be used maybe in the Screen Actors Guild for film and TV, like X amount. I'm not positive about that. I may be wrong, but I did meet somebody that's the casting director here. So I might bark up that tree, try and get some other stuff cooking, and try and do stuff. Because I live really close to downtown. I'm only like 8 miles from downtown, so I shoot a lot of stuff down there. So yeah, hopefully, who knows, man? I'll let you know if I do.
So I have a fly fishing business, you know, and a fly fishing store, you know.
Oh, nice.
And so people will call from Los Angeles, you know, hey, we need somebody to, you know, be the guy out there, you know, that's casting next to a Ram truck or whatever, right? And so I've done a few of those, you know, and you know, when you get that check, I'm just like, what is this? You know, it's like free money. I'm like, whoa, this is awesome.
Yeah, mailbox. Mailbox money, baby. Yeah, it's the best. It's the best.
So was all that filming and stuff done in New York? Were you doing like The Sopranos was all like on that area?
All those, Brooklyn, Jersey. New York City. I'm trying to think if I did anything out of state. I did do a movie in Detroit called Panic in Detroit. That was like, we did the song for the soundtrack, which was a David Bowie cover called Panic in Detroit as well. But I don't know if the movie ever, I think it came out like straight to DVD or something. But I think, I've done some stuff in LA, played in LA a ton, shows in LA all over out there, but I don't think I've ever done any, I did, you know, some podcast stuff and interview stuff and, you know, some radio stuff, a ton of radio stuff out there. But I don't think I've ever shot anything anywhere else than mainly East Coast, like, you know, Jersey, Brooklyn, Queens, New York area.
What was, his name? What was his name? Gandolfini?
James Gandolfini.
What was he like, man? I mean, he's
super nice. Yeah, super nice. I'll never forget. One of my first memories of him was I was sitting like near the craft services table, like eating like a granola bar or something at like 8 a.m, and I couldn't afford HBO, so I'd never seen The Sopranos, so I had no idea, you know, what I was even on or whatever. You know, I knew the title of the show, but I had never seen one episode of it. So like, I wasn't like, in awe over everybody, but I remember him coming up and saying hello and talking to the people at craft services. And when he walked away and turned to walk away, I remember him looking right at me as I'm sitting on the ground, and him just saying, "Hey, good morning. How's it going?" It was just super cool. No, it didn't seem to have any sort of ego or airs about him at all.
Did you get to see him in action, like in front of the camera and stuff like that, doing his thing?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Just like instant character, just kind of went into it and boom.
Straight up master. Yep. Matt Damon as well. I was in one of the Bourne. I don't even know. I don't know that I've ever seen him. A Bourne Supremacy or Bourne whatever.
Yeah.
He was also somebody that kind of stuck out in my mind of being like, okay, in action, it's just like click, boom, here we are.
Wow. Pros.
Yeah, super, super cool. Yeah, it was really fun to see that world up close. And my friend Megan, who introduced me to Christian and Greg to go over there and record, and like she's killing the costume world. Her name's Megan Kasperlik, and she's doing like, huge stuff. Like she did all the, I think she, oh man, I don't want to screw it up, but I don't know, like these huge movies. She's been nominated for Emmys, and I want to say some other stuff, but yeah, she's doing great stuff. She got sucked into that whole world and went really far and deep with it, and is very successful now, which is cool to watch.
So what's down the road for you? What's coming up, and where can people find your music and, Brent James and the Vintage Youth and all that?
Yeah, we are, I'm about to go back down to Nashville and record some more stuff. And you can find me on Instagram. It's just at Brent James Music. And then Facebook is at Brent James Music as well. Twitter as well. That's just kind of from my Instagram feed. I'm lazy with Twitter. But yeah, like all the, TikTok I think is at Brent James Music, and I'm lazy with that too. I just, Instagram is just kind of one of those things that's easy to pump out what's going on, and then just slide into the Facebook thing. But yeah, I go on those two, probably social media wise. And then our website is brentjamesmusic.com. So everything's just pretty much under Brent James.
Okay, cool.
Music.
Dude, you're a talented dude, man.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate it so much.
Yeah, and I want everybody to go out and definitely check you out. And hopefully when you come out to the West, we can get some people out there to check you out and listen to your music live too. Because I hear that you're kind of like a young Jagger. That's what I hear.
We definitely got to get back out there, man. We played we used to Primary Wave throws this big Grammy party that I always come out for. They still are kind enough to invite me out to it. We usually try to do we'll come out and do that, and then sometimes we'll book that along with a show like Viper Room. We played the Viper Room a few times. Some whiskey a few times, and Peppermint Club, is that what it's called? Peppermint out there. I've done that, and I'm trying to think one other place.
So many clubs I'm sure you've done. It's like, oh my god.
Some really cool rooms. We've done one other. I can't remember. There's one other. Oh man, this dude. This guy that I knew, God rest his soul, Jim Schumacher. He was at Capitol Records. This is actually a really funny quick story. So when I was probably like 16, 17. I was always obsessed with like the business side of music and like how it all works, the inner workings. And I used to sit like on my bedroom floor, and I had this thing called the Musician's Atlas. I don't know if you remember that back in the day. It was in a hard magazine.
For sure.
So I used to sit with that in my bedroom and like just call labels, just call these record companies, and because they had all the phone numbers there, and I was like, like this is awesome. Like, let me just pick these guys' brains, and like learn about this. So I called Capitol one day, and this dude picks up the phone named Jim Schumacher, and I talked to this guy like all the time. He was just a wealth of knowledge. Like he had been in bands and toured, and had been signed and had other things happen. in his career, and ended up at Capitol, and was just like a great sounding board for a young kid, like trying to figure it out and like navigate a world that I had zero connections in. You know, like my mom can sing, but like there was nobody in my family that was in like a cool band, you know, that some people have. So it's kind of like, you know, thrown in, you know, and like figure it out type thing. And I remember talking to him all the time, and my band that I was in, we were called Baked Goods, and my cousin was the guitar player, and I booked us a show at the Whiskey, and I was like, we have to get there. I already booked the show. We got to get there. I think we had to pay like $300 to play there, pay to play shit.
Yeah, pay to play, yep.
So I was like, we got to figure this out, guys. We got to get to LA. I got us a show at the Whiskey, man. We got to figure it out. So like we played shows, and like I raised money locally, like for playing tickets from different businesses, you know, got other businesses involved in it and stuff. But I ended up calling and be like, hey man, like we have a show at the Whiskey. I booked this show at the Whiskey. He's like, dude, I'll be there. So he came to the show, and after the show, he was like, hey, man, you want to come back to Capitol Records? Because we went on at like 6 o'clock or something crazy early. So we went back to Capitol, and I remember he took us everywhere at Capitol. We ended up going up to the rooftop of Capitol Records, and I've got all these pictures when it was like those disposable camera times. There were no phones, you know. This was in, like 99, 2000, something like that. And we were up on the roof of Capitol Records, and he showed us everywhere. But he ended up booking us a show at this place in West Hollywood called The Haze. And it was like a medicinal marijuana place.
Awesome.
I remember we came back out, and we played at The Haze like a year later. And I just remember being on stage, like not being able to sing or breathe because like the haze was literally a haze. Like it was so thick.
That's crazy.
But just a great dude, another guy that has been like, you know, he went over to Epic Records after that, and then it was at Atlantic, and I used to always go up to those offices, just hang out with him and, you know, shoot the shit. And, you know, he'd introduce me to people, and he's introduced me to some great people out there. But he ended up passing away from cancer, which really sucks. He's an absolute gem of a dude. Yeah, just a great guy, man. I'll never forget him. But yeah, I thought that was
great story.
A story worth telling for Jim's honor.
So, actually two more questions, if you don't mind. What's the you know, all these different places that you've played, you know, all over the U.S. and what's the craziest thing that's ever happened to you, like while you're playing? Do you have any story of something that might have happened when you were playing back in the day or recently, or is there too many?
Oh yeah,
right? It's crazy how so many stuff.
Man. Yeah, you know, I guess it depends. Like, there's a lot of like categories of crazy. Like, some of them probably aren't shareable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, I've had experiences of lessons learned of what not to do, and I had to learn that in a really hard way with certain things. But as far as like on stage, you know, something that stands out, I guess we were playing this show at Buckcherry in Covington, Kentucky, and we were finishing our set with a cover song actually called The Rocker by Thin Lizzy, and it's such a ripper of a tune, and we went into it, the crowd went crazy. They knew the song, which, you know, a lot of people kind of don't know it. If you're like really deep into Thin Lizzy, like you might know the tune. Yeah. But the crowd knew it and was into it, and this crowd was straight up electric. So our tour manager was off on the side of the stage, and I had needed my tambourine, and he threw me my tambourine from across the stage, dude. Like, I mean, full baseball throw. I caught it perfectly on the downbeat. I go into it. The crowd goes absolutely crazy. So we're throwing down. We're about to end the song, and like there's this big dramatic, you know, vamp out ending, you know. Yeah. And I'm hitting my tambourine, and I'm playing it so hard that right on the last downbeat of the song ending, I hit the tambourine against my hand, and the tambourine, whatever they're called, the timbre, whatever those little shaky things are, I can't think what they're called. They go all over the crowd, and it looked like we had it planned, and I'm like, there was not one thing planned about that. but people that saw that
We're
show
freaking
still write, and they still say, dude, I was at that show. That was crazy. We did with the tambourine. I'm like, dude, shit wasn't planned. I think people thought that it was like an exploding tambo or something, but that was like a really cool moment of like, you know, like showmanship and like what you can get from a crowd if you really do some cool shit, some different stuff, and aren't afraid to get bloody and, you know, break a tambourine on your hand, you know, and get some splinters with it.
So is there a point when you're playing and performing that you know you have the crowd in like the palm of your hand kind of a vibe? Is there is there sometimes where you're just like, man, this crowd's just not understanding?
Oh yeah. Yeah, man. You know, the run of the joke of the band is you know, when we have played some dates with some legacy acts who are legendary, who are heroes of mine, who I'm grateful to even be on the bill with.
Sure.
But when you play those shows sometimes with that legacy crowd, you tend to get there, and when you see chairs, you automatically are like, damn.
Yeah, they're going to be sitting.
Okay, because it's a whole other level of workmanship that you got to get them on their feet somehow. So, like, it's a challenge for sure. And I've had to do it many. There's actually a funny video online of a song called "Can't Escape" that when we were doing some dates with Alice Cooper, you know, some of those rooms were seated. Not all of them, but some of them were, and there is a video out there where I had to get like, you know, I don't know, 10,000 people on their feet, which ended up working. But like, it was the first show I ever did that at, of like, you know, you've got all these people sitting down, you know, and like, you know, with their arms folded right out of the gate, like, impress me, you know, you're here to work for me, type vibe. And you got to find a way in some way, shape, or form. You have to find that small thing that's going to identify with them, that's going to, you know, you got to talk to them, you got to get in with them, and then you got to get them on their feet at some point. Otherwise, it's like, good show, you know, you know, if you walk off, even if they're only on their feet for that last 3.5 minutes of that last tune, then you walk off like crazy energetic about it, and you're ready to go to the merch table and make some money, you know. But if you come off the stage, then it's like, if nobody got up, you know, that I will say, there hasn't been a time where I haven't been able to, knock on wood, good God, there hasn't been a time where I haven't been able to get everybody on their feet in those situations. But people have no idea. It's a challenge.
Yeah, people have no idea how hard that is to do. You know,
it's a challenge for sure. Yeah. And I always tell my kids, whenever we go out to eat or go someplace, and if there's a live musician in the room and they're on the stage, I don't care if the person is off key as it gets and is playing out of tune. They are up there, they're trying, they might be new, and you clap for them no fucking matter what. And I don't care if you're the only one in the room clapping, because clapping breeds clapping. If you clap for them, somebody at the table next to you is going to clap, and you have some respect for the people that are up there, you know, doing it. Because I've been up there and I have been in the rooms where everybody's staring at their food or staring at their phone, and it does not matter how great you're singing or what song you're playing. I have had the room where I have been stiff and you don't get the claps. And it doesn't matter, man, if you're playing to 5 people in a room and 2 of them clap or 1 of them clap, it makes the show for
Absolutely.
You leave feeling like you had some success, you know. So that's like, be their success. Be that person's success. And the rest of your life, when you're out doing this shit, turn your head, don't look away. They're up there. You're in the room with them. You made the decision to sit here and eat, and you're at this place. You know, clap your hands. So, sorry, I'll stop bitching about that.
No, I love it. You know, there's a quote from I think it's David Grohl from the Foo Fighters, and somebody asked him, you know, what's it like, you know, when you first start out? And he's like, dude, you just got to go and play and suck. And get out there and just go out there and play and suck, man. And you'll get better. You'll get better, but you got to go do it. You got to go do it.
Yeah.
So that's my next question for you. And my last question is, you know, there's a lot of people that are up and coming, you know, musicians that want to do exactly what you're doing and playing all the time and stuff and songwriting. Is there any advice that you could give them as they're growing in their musicianship and performance and stuff?
Yes. Yeah, man. I would say, obviously, number one, concentrate on the song. Number one, the song. If you don't have that, then there's absolutely no point in being in the business, obviously. But concentrate on your songwriting. Yes. And, honing that skill and reading and listening to what other songwriters have to say, taking advice from, you could listen to somebody could listen to this, and if they take one little thing, that has helped me, then it potentially could help them down the road. And that's what I did, is like every single thing, every single person, I try to be a sponge, like I really, I have so much respect for the art and the craft of songwriting and the music business, I guess, in general, and the way that it operates. I'm a constant student of the game, 100 million %. I will never stop being a constant student of the game. Because it's an ever evolving / changing game. But I would say concentrate on the song, and then after you have some songs, some good songs, like songs that that when you listen to them, there's nothing that makes you cringe, and there's nothing that makes you think, I don't know about this part. Once you have that within your song, then you have the confidence to go out and start moving in rooms, business rooms. Publishers, labels, and get to those communities. Learn about the business side of music. Learn about contracts. Learn about live music contracts. Learn about all that stuff. All that stuff is accessible on the internet now. That was not accessible as easily when I was coming up. I had to chase people down and bug them and call them constantly and annoy people, to get those types of things. But it's there now. Like, you have a leg up now. And if you have drive and you're just fucking hungry because you want it so damn bad, as long as you continue to work and put in the work, those little things, there will be a gazillion things in this business that make you not want to do it anymore. Trust me. Coming from me, there will be a gazillion things where you lose faith and you're self-conscious, and, don't let yourself, because as an artist, we're all artists, as I said, everybody is self-conscious, and don't let your self-consciousness get to you and knock you out of the game, because you're only one song away from being successful and having some success, and be a damn good person, and be somebody that people want to talk to and people want to call back, and aren't gonna be a shitty person. But I would say that those things are muy importante in my book. But focus on the damn song. Get your hit songs popping, man. And if you find one, let me know. I'm always searching. I'm always trying to write it. If you figure out the formula, everybody's trying to figure out the damn formula.
Well, dude, you have a new fan for sure out here on the West, man. And if you ever come out here,
back at you.
Please let me know, and I can get a bunch of people to come for sure and check you out. And I want to thank you for being on my podcast, and I wish you more success, man.
Oh, thank you, man. Where are you based again?
We're in like the Ventura, Santa Barbara, Bakersfield, West Coast area. And
Dwight Yoakam vibe out there.
Yep.
Oh, Dwight's in town, I think, tonight, actually. I believe he's in town tonight, actually. Man.
Is he?
Yep, I believe he is in Cincinnati, Ohio tonight at the Andrew J. Grady Center, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, man, that's a sign I need to go and get somebody to get me into that damn show.
Yeah, man. So, my studio's up in Kernville, California, which is on the Kern River. And so that's where I'm at right now, talking to you. But, I'm all over the place, man. But, Bakersfield, West Coast country, or West Coast Nashville, for sure, man.
Very cool, man. Yeah, that's awesome, dude. That is awesome.
Thanks again, man, and hope to talk to you soon, buddy.
Yeah, pleasure talking to you. Thanks for having me on, man.
All right, man. Talk soon.
See you, man.
It's a Guy Jeans podcast.